Bismillah walhamdulillah wassalatu wassalamu ala rasulillah wa ala ahlihi wa ashabihi ajma'in. Amma ba'd, fa'awdhu billahi minash shaitanir rajim. Bismillahir rahmanir rahim. Rabbi shrah li sadri wa yassir li amri wahlul 'uqdatam min lisani yafqahu qawli. Rabbi zidni ilma. Allahumma faqihna fid din. Allahumma inni as'aluka ilman nafi'an wa 'amalan mutaqabbalan wa rizqan tayyiban. اللهم اهدي قلبي وسدد لساني واستر سخيمة قلبي آمين يا رب العالمين. Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. Continuing from just quickly reviewing our previous lesson, inshallah bismillah. Before that, we will just quickly review the manasik or the steps of Hajj because again, they're very important for the all of the upcoming ayat. Okay, Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. So there are two things. وَأَتِمُّوا الْحَجَّ وَالْعُمْرَةَ لِلَّهِ. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says that Hajj and Umrah are for Allah. Okay, so what is the difference between Umrah and Hajj? Okay, Umrah is it can be performed any time of the year, okay, except during the days of Hajj, which is from the 8th of Dhul Hijjah until 13th, and it has only four requisite for it to be complete, which is Ihram, entering in the state of Ihram, and Tawaf, Sa'i, which is going between Safa and Marwa, and qasr or halaq, which is basically shaving or cutting one's hair. Okay, ihram. So what is the state of ihram? Is when a person, so for men, it also includes clothing, okay, and it also includes it's so for women it can be any kind of clothes, but for men specifically it also includes clothing, plus it includes all other things, which is starting point. This is common between men and women. Starting point where you start from, your niyyah, your intention. For men, it's the clothing, the white, two sheets of white cloth that are unstitched, that go, one covers the top and one covers from navel until the knees. Okay, and women can dress in any way, as long as, of course, it's modest and it's not distracting, and it's something that keeps the person cool and easy to perform Umrah or Hajj in. And then, so when then the person makes ghusl. For that, just excuse me, sorry, we have some students at the door. Just a moment. Assalamu alaikum. So the requirements for Umrah are basically entrance of Ihram, and we were discussing Ihram, that it has to be, and certain things are forbidden when a person states in the when a person enters in the state of Ihram, which is basically intimate relation, any kind of perfuming, any kind of quarreling or argument, and all of these things are not allowed in the state of Ihram for both men and women. And of course, and because the word Ihram means that certain things become haram when a person enters the state of Ihram. So, and miqat again is the starting point where a person, so again, when a person goes for Umrah or Hajj, they will see different points. Miqat is basically the starting point of Umrah or Hajj. Okay, so and the this is the talbiya, basically when a person says labbaik Allahumma labbaik. So this is the, and the person from miqat until they enter the haram where the Masjid al-Haram is, uh until there they say labbaik Allahumma labbaik. They're reciting in their car, and most likely everyone's not nowadays traveling in cars or buses or anything, so they're reciting. Sometimes people even enter the state of ihram while in a flight. You'll see if Saudi Airlines or something like that. So some people enter the state of ihram there, and then in the flight they're reciting labbaik Allahumma labbaik until you reach Masjid Haram. You don't recite labbaik Allahumma labbaik while you're making tawaf. No, you have another dua for that, and you just recite it until from your starting point until you reach the Kaaba, basically. Okay. Then the Hajj begins. So these are the days of Hajj from 8 through to 13. There are three types of Hajj now. Okay, just quicker reviewing again. We did this last week, but it's important because this is the next coming ayat. We need to know these steps of Hajj. So number one is there are three types of Hajj again: Qiran, Tamattu, and Ifrad. Okay, so these are just the names. But number one is Qiran, which is basically you combine Umrah and Hajj in one ihram. So you wear the ihram, and in the same ihram, you perform your Umrah. You don't remove the ihram. You don't come out of that state, and you continue your Hajj. You make the sacrifice of an animal, and then you remove your ihram. Okay, and the second type is Hajj Tamattu. Don't worry. Yeah, Hajj Tamattu, which is basically you enter the state of Ihram and then you perform Umrah. Then you come out of the state of Ihram. So basically, let's say if when Hajj starts from the 8th of Zulhijjah, so anytime before 8th of Zulhijjah, you can perform your Umrah, come out of the state of Ihram, then again put the Ihram on, and then you make the intention for Hajj, sacrifice the animal, and remove the ihram. And last Hajj is Ifrad. Hajj al-Ifrad is usually, it's just the Hajj, no Umrah with it. Why do people combine Umrah and Ihram? It's just virtuous because people are traveling, so why not just do Umrah as well? And a lot of people, they do Umrah and Hajj together because they're traveling, and why not? Especially traveling from so far, so it's better to even do Umrah and also do the Hajj. But Hajj al-Ifrad, you can only do Hajj only, and usually it's people who live in that vicinity, in the Haram, they live in that area. So basically, you make the intention, you put the ihram, you perform all the steps of Hajj, and you remove the ihram. And you don't have to sacrifice an animal in this type of Hajj. If you're not combining Umrah, this is important. If you're not combining Umrah and Hajj, and you're just doing Hajj, then you don't have to sacrifice an animal at the end to complete that Hajj. This is called Hajj al-Ifrad. Perhaps if this might happen. Looking at the slides. Okay, so what are the steps of Hajj? So the first step of Hajj is that a person travels from Mina, from Masjid al-Haram to Mina. This is the first step of Hajj. Okay, so this is the day one, which is the 8th of Zulhijjah. Again, we did this last week, just quickly going over it. When they go to the place called Mina, it's again, these are all different spots close to the Haram where the Masjid Haram is. So when they go there, they travel to a place called Mina. You'll see the tents set up for the people who are performing Hajj. Okay, what does the person do? They perform Zohar, Asr, Maghrib, and Isha. Okay, and they can shorten their prayers because they're travelers. Okay, as a traveler in Islam, you're allowed to shorten your prayer. So they can shorten their prayers. Instead of performing 4 rak'ah of Zohar, they can do 2 rak'ah of Zohar, and 4 rak'ah of Asr, they can do 2 rak'ah of Asr. Maghrib is prayed as is, which is 3 rak'ah fard, and Isha is prayed as, instead of 4 rak'ah, they do 2 rak'ah. So they shorten their prayer. This is the first step. And then They spend a whole day in Mina from Zohar to until the next day. They pray the Fajr prayer and wait until sunrise. Okay. Next day, which is the 9th of Zulhijjah. Okay. What do? They travel from Mina to Arafah. This is the plain of Arafah. It's a small hill, okay, where people gather, and the main ibadah on the day of Arafah, and they stay from Zohar to Maghrib at Arafah. They're making a lot of dua. This is a time to make a lot of dua for for a lot of zikr. They ask Allah's forgiveness, and basically this is the main day of Hajj. It's called the main day of Hajj because we know from the hadith of the Prophet ﷺ that he said that Al-Hajjul Arafah. Their Hajj is Arafah. Basically, Arafah is like the most important part of Hajj in that sense, okay? And the people who are not, whoever reaches the night of Arafah before the rising of the sun at dawn, the next day, he has completed the Hajj. Okay. Then the Prophet ﷺ used to perform Zohar and Asr together at Zohar time during at the plain of Arafah. This was the only time he combined the prayers. You can shorten the prayer at Mina, but you don't combine them. But at Arafah, he would combine Zohar and Asr together at Zohar time. This is a sunnah of the Prophet. You can pray them separately too, but was his sunnah. You see a lot of the Hujjaj, they are praying, they're making dua at the plain of Arafah. This is happening on the 9th of Zulhijjah. What do we do when we're not gone for Hajj? So anyone who's not gone for Hajj on the day of Arafah, which is 9th of Zulhijjah, we fast. Okay, but the people who have gone for Hajj, they don't fast. This was again also sunnah of the Prophet that if he's not gone for Hajj and it's a day of Arafah, then he would fast. And the one who fasts on the day of Arafah, all of the sins from the previous year and the upcoming year are forgiven. The dua that is specially said on the day of Arafah, and the person can make, inshallah, bismillah, Shawwal is ending, Zulqa'dah and Zulhijjah. We're going to enter the month of Zulhijjah in like a month and a half, almost 1 month and a half's time. So this is the dua, La ilaha illallah wahdahu la sharika lahu, lahul mulku wa lahul hamdu, wa huwa ala kulli shay'in qadir. So this is the dua that is said on the day of Arafah, when we fast, inshallah, bismillah, on the 9th of Zulhijjah. Okay, so on the 9th of Zulhijjah, after the Maghrib, after the Asr prayer, so a person will stay in Arafah until the Asr time, and after Asr from Maghrib and Isha, they will move to Muzdalifah. Okay, this is the plain of Muzdalifah, and they will stay there until Fajr. Okay, so this is the 9th of Zulhijjah, and part of the day is spent at Arafah, and part of the day is spent in Muzdalifah. Okay, so again, this is great thing is to have a booklet. Of course, people go with a group. So again, once, of course, when you perform it, then all these steps become much more clear. Okay? When a person goes to Muzdalifah on the 9th of Zulhijjah, then they pray Maghrib and Isha together, spend the night in Muzdalifah until Fajr time. Okay, so there at Muzdalifah, which is the 9th of Zulhijjah, they collect pebbles to stone for stoning, and they collect about 7 pebbles that they will be stoning on the Jamara, which is on the 10th. So this is the 9th. So this is the day 2, basically 9th of Zulhijjah. Okay, this is Muzdalifah. Okay, so far what we have covered: Mina, from Mina to Arafah. Arafah, half the day is spent at Arafah, and from Arafah to Muzdalifah. Okay. The next is day 3. Okay, and day 3 is the 10th of Zulhijjah, which is actually called Yawmul Nahar, basically day of sacrifice, the day of Eid, actually. Okay, but Hajj is not over yet. Okay, it's the day of Eid. What does a person do? So step 1 is to stone so they will, from near Muzdalifah, walking distance will be a place called Jamarat, which is basically, Jamara means to throw, to stone, and they're going to be 3 pillars. One is small, one is medium, one is large. okay, or the bigger one, okay? So they will stone the big pillar, and this is on the day of Eid. They will sacrifice the animal. They will sacrifice an animal. They will shave or trim their hair, okay? And they will perform tawaf or sa'i. These are 4 things to be done on the day of Eid. Okay, this is Yawmul Eid. Okay, and the reason for shaving and trimming, and basically you partially come out of ihram. So you can dress up nice on Eid. You can dress up, you can change out of ihram now, and you know, basically you don't have to be in that. So, and they perform tawaf and sa'i. Okay, now, so you will have to walk from Muzdalifah to Jamara, and there you will stone the biggest pillar, just the biggest pillar. Walaikum salam. Okay. You could return to Mina after throwing the stones at the big pillar and then perform the tawaf and sa'i or any day. Basically, not to tire oneself, there's still 3 more days left of Hajj. Hajj is from day 8 to day 13th of Dhul Hijjah. So now we're on day 10, right? So 11, 12, 13, you can either do the tawaf and sa'i. Sa'i is basically going from Safa, between Safa and Marwa, right? So you can do that either on the day of Eid, or you can do in any of the 11, 12, or 13. And the reason why, because it could be too exhausting on the day of Eid. You can celebrate with your family and, you know, spend some time. And so doing so many things, people have the option to even do tawaf and sa'i on the 11th, 12th, or the 13th. Okay. Inshallah, of course, inshallah, bismillah, all of us, when we go on Hajj, Allah's going to give us the opportunity. We'll be going in a group. So, of course, there'll be group leader leading and, you know, these. But, of course, knowledge is important. Even we should know that what's the right steps of Hajj. Okay, so on the 10th of 10th of Zulhijjah, just stoning the big Jamara, only the big pillar is stoned. Then person sacrifices the animal. Okay, women only have to cut part of their hair, not all of it. Okay, and then they can also do sa'i and tawaf, or they can leave it for 11, 12, or 13 if they're unable to do so, because it's going to be very busy. Okay, after sacrificing and shaving, trimming one hair, person has 2 options, either as mentioned, perform the tawaf on the same day, or perform the tawaf and sa'i on a different day. This is their option. Okay, what happens on day 11, 12, and 13? So so after doing all of this, then the person returns to, again, where did we start from? We start from Mina, right? So person goes back to Mina. Okay, there are tented areas there. Okay, so on day 11, collect 21 stones, basically 7 for each of the pillar. Okay, and then the stoning time is between Zohar and Maghrib. Okay, and as a person is stoning the pillars, they say Allahu Akbar. Okay, so this 7 times they stone the big pillar, the middle pillar, and the small pillar. Okay, and in Arabic they're called Jamaratul Sughra, Wusta, and Aqaba. Aqaba is the biggest one, Wusta is the middle one, and Sughra is the smallest one. Okay. Then they throw the 7 stones while saying Allahu Akbar. Then, from the small, middle to the big. Okay. Then return to Mina after stoning. Basically, you're not doing anything except stoning on these 11, 12, and 13, unless you don't perform tawaf on the and sa'i on the 10th. Then you can do that on 11, 12, 13. Okay. Okay, then you ask Allah's forgiveness and and others show good etiquette. Inshallah, bismillah, our ayat cover that, the akhlaq. Okay, and ask Allah for Jannah, of course. Hajj is a journey of lifetime. The one from the hadith of the Prophet, the one who performs Hajj properly, they will come out of Hajj and their state will be the day they were born from their mother's womb. Just from the hadith, that the one whose Hajj is accepted, they are clean, like a baby, basically. Okay, day 12th, you repeat the same thing that you did on day 11th, basically stoning the 3 pillars, okay, between Zohar and Maghrib. And once you're done stoning the 3 pillars, you come back to Mina in your spot. You're just doing ibadah. You're not engaged in talking or filming or vlogging or things like that. You're just engaged in ibadah. You can pray, you can do nawafil prayers, you can do dhikr, you can help someone, even helping someone. You will learn the ayat upcoming too, that, you know, helping people. There are people who are going to need a lot of help. The people worldwide, they're coming, you know, and there'll be a lot of opportunities to do khair and good, especially in Hajj. See, it's not only rituals, it's everything. Khair is everything, all kinds of goodness. Okay, so you get an opportunity to do a lot of maybe helping people. There'll be people from different countries. Some people are not, you know, they're not well off, they need help, they need food. So spend most of our time in doing all different kinds of goodness. And again, to do this, number one important thing is planning. Everyone, the one who's going for Hajj or Umrah, should plan, what am I going to do? How am I going to spend? Okay, unless you plan it, then, you know, you'll just be focused on the ritual and you just come back. But, you know, I can take benefit of each opportunity. Maybe feeding people, helping someone disabled, helping someone elderly, you know, or offering candies to children. There's a lot of there won't be much children. There's an age limit for Hajj for that. But for any people that you know, who need help, okay, and how to control, and a lot of ibadah as well, asking a lot of dua to Allah. Okay, so this continues. Okay, so Prophet stayed until the 13th of Dhul Hijjah at Mina. Okay, and again, same thing is repeated on the 13th of Dhul Hijjah, which is the last day. So stoning, all the three pillars seven times each, 11th, 12th, and 13th. Okay, and then after that, return to Masjid al-Haram. Okay, and then you perform the farewell tawaf. Okay, so which is called tawaful wida, which is basically the last tawaf you're performing. Okay, so 7 times you perform the tawaf, and then basically the Hajj is complete. Okay, then you're completely out of the state of ihram. Okay, this is important for the ayah that are coming up. Okay, so there are 2 times you're performing actually tawaf, and one is mentioned on the day of Eid or any of the 12, 13, 12, 11, 12, or 13. And then when you're done everything, which is stoning and everything, you perform the farewell tawaf. Okay. And these prohibitions which are listed are just in the state of ihram that a person cannot do. So using perfume, anything scented, and removing or cutting of nails. So you cannot cut your nails or cut your hair in the state of ihram. Covering a face for women is not allowed in the state of ihram. It's for the women who wear niqab. For the men to wear, so basically also men cannot wear stitched clothes in the state of ihram. Okay, so no undergarments, no socks. Okay, then any marriage proposal cannot happen in the state of ihram. Okay, of course, being intimate between husband and wife is not allowed, and hunting is not allowed in the state of ihram. Okay, so this was basically what we covered in detail last time, and now we just quickly went over this. So going back to our ayat, ayah number 196 of Surah Al-Baqarah. Okay. So أتم الحج والعمرة لله. So complete the pilgrimage and the Hajj and Umrah for Allah. Okay, you're doing this for Allah and not for any other. So just renewing one's intention and completing it. Focus on completing, because as a believer, you should complete anything you commit to. Otherwise, don't overcommit. Okay, you should complete the things that you take up, unless of course there is an emergency. Otherwise, don't overcommit to things that you can't. Don't undercommit, but don't overcommit too. Know your limitations. Okay, again, who is the Hajj fardhan? So who can perform Hajj? I mean, it's a 5th pillar of Islam, but the conditions for performing Hajj is, of course, you can financially afford Hajj. It is expensive, especially if you're traveling from this part of the world. You don't have debts, okay? And yes, so for that you have to. So main thing is that you don't have debts, and you're financially able to do so. You're physically able to do so, and the person who's performing Hajj is also mentally stable, like sane, basically. Okay, so these are the conditions for performing Hajj and physically. Now, some certain questions arise. What if someone is unable to perform Hajj? They have the money, but they don't have the physical ability. They can't travel. It's a strenuous, it's a physically exhausting journey, very physically exhausting and demanding journey. Okay, different pillars. We have the 5 pillars of Islam. Okay, so for example, Salah is more using your physical body, has a physical aspect to it. Okay, zakat has the zakat has the mal, the spending aspect of it. Then Saum again has the physical aspect of it, fasting that affects your physical body. And Hajj involves both physical and money, right? Physical and spending, right? So if a person has the and there are a lot of people, a lot of elderly or sometimes even people who are younger but they're unable to, they have the resources, then they can pay for someone to perform Hajj on their behalf. Someone can perform the Hajj on their behalf, but the condition of the person who's performing the Hajj, they should have performed the Hajj for themselves first, right? For example, if I was, to perform a Hajj on behalf of someone, I have to perform the Hajj myself first. I've done my Hajj first. Then I can perform. I have to go next year or the whatever to perform for someone else. Okay. Also, Hajj can be performed for deceased parents. So sometimes when what happens is when the wealth before wealth is distributed and a person's inheritance, the amount, if the person has not performed Hajj, then that amount is taken out, that how much ever, I think 15 to 20K for Canada. So that much amount is taken from the wealth before it's given to the inheritors. And that is reserved for performing Hajj. Not necessarily the children have to perform it, anyone can perform it. Okay, because what if the children haven't performed Hajj? So anyone who has performed their Hajj is pious. Okay, they can select and they can perform Hajj. They can pay for their Hajj and they can perform a Hajj on behalf of an other person, either someone who's physically unable to do so because of health or is deceased, has passed away. Okay, these are certain things that are common questions. Okay, so Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, ayah number 196, فَإِنْ أُحْصِرْتُمْ فَمَا اسْتَيْسَرَ مِنَ الْهَدِيِ. But if prevented from proceeding, then offer whatever sacrificial animals you can afford. Meaning, if a person has any of these steps that we did, like right now, when we did from the day 8 to 13, if any of the steps a person is unable to perform, then they should do an offering. Okay, they have to pay the fidya. Okay, ولا تحلقوا رؤوسكم حتى يبلغ هدي المحلة, and do not shave your heads until the sacrificial animal reaches its destination. Okay, so basically until the animal is sacrificed, do not shave off your heads. This is happening on which day? Day 10th. Day 10th is the day of Eid, right? So until the sacrificial animal reaches its place of sacrifice, meaning you know for sure that your animal has been sacrificed. How do you know? Of course, it's huge. Millions of people are there performing Hajj, right? They have a lot of resources set up now. They even have apps now. You can sacrifice your animal on the app. It's not going to be physical. We can't imagine it. You're not going to be physically going and sacrificing your animal. It's not going to happen that way. Okay, when you're going in groups, it's actually, you pay for it, it's paid for, you pay for the sacrifice, they arrange it, and then your the leader will let you know your animal's been sacrificed. That's when you shave. That's when you shave your head. Okay, here Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is saying that. Then what if something is happening? There is some people cannot shave their head, right? Because it could be that they have certain injury, right? Someone has injury or someone has skin disease, something like that. Then what does Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala say in that case? If and do not shave your head until the sacrificial animal reaches its destination. Then if any of you, فَمَنْ كَانَ مِنْكُمْ مَرِيضًا أَوْ بِهِ أَذًى مِنْ رَأْسِهِ. So if that person has some kind of injury or some kind of illness which prevents them to completely shave their hair, or to even to, like, for example, to even do a little bit of their hair. There's something going on. Okay. So then or sometimes what happen is, what if someone has to shave their hair? Like, if someone, if even now, if people get head injury and the doctors have to check it, they have to scrape off some part of their hair. They have to shave it, like maybe a circle or something. And what if that is done? If someone experiences head injury on day 9th, let's say in Arafah, like for example, but they can only shave on 10th. Now, what if, and the doctor has to look at them? So what happens in that case? Well, they say, no, 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 I have to wait until I sacrifice my animal. Then no, you can. So in that cases, what should be done? Because you're not really fulfilling the step of Hajj. So in this case, that you will allow the doctor, of course, or the medical team to shave off your hair, to have a look at that injury or something. But because you're doing it before the time, or so either cases, either you are not able to do it, or you're doing it before the time. So what can you do? You came all the way, you put it, so it would not be practical to restart the Hajj, because there are particular days of Hajj. You can restart it. You're gonna have to do it for another year. It's other travel. So in this case, because Hajj is not like Umrah. Umrah can be performed. There's no time limit for it. There is no particular days for it. But if the day of Hajj, a particular day of Hajj where you have to do particular step has passed, but you can't be at Mina on day 9th, right? Because day 9th is for Arafah and Muzdalifah, for example. So you can't restart the Hajj, right? So in these cases, when things like this happen, and it's very common, people faint, people fall, elderly, it's hot, especially people who live outside of this of that demographic, that area. It's hard for the bodies to be used to it. So things can happen naturally. So what should a person do? So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says in this case, for fidyatun, that person pays fidya min. So what are the three ways of paying fidya? Okay, so fidya is basically to pay an amount to release yourself from that step. Okay, to release yourself from a particular step, you pay fidya. Okay, what are the three things of fidya? Three things can be done. Okay, either min siyamin, fasting. Okay, so the person can fast for 3 days after they come back. Okay, after they come back from Hajj, they fast for 3 days. After they don't have to fast there, then and there. Okay, أو صدقة. أو صدقة, they pay sadaqah, meaning they feed, okay, 6 people, 6 meals. I mean, 1 meal per person. Okay, 6 meals for 6 people. Not 6 times per person, but 1 meal per person. Yes. Okay, so 6 meal, one meal per person. Okay, and nusuk is basically paying is basically a sacrifice of an animal. And this sacrifice is not the same as sacrificing on Eid. This is a separate one. And again, there are literally apps to do that. You can just or do it. Okay, so either 3 of them are acceptable, because sometimes person is not able to afford. They can come back home and fast. Maybe, and and feeding sometimes, but it's very easy actually to find people to feed there. Very easy. People come from all over the world, and there a lot of people are in need. They sometimes don't. They spent all their money just for the travel, and they have no risk left for food. So easily this can be done. And if they're able to, they can offer, instead of doing fasting or doing that, they can either just do sacrifice. Okay. So these 3 things can be done when any of the manasik of Hajj, any of the steps of Hajj, they are missed. Okay. This is not to be confused. We will have upcoming ayah. I'm giving a heads up. This is not to be confused if a person intentionally breaks their ihram. If a person, specifically we're talking about intimate relation between husband and wife. Okay, so this is not, so if that ihram breaks or something for that reason, then there's a separate payment for it. Okay, this is only when a person misses either any of the steps of Hajj, and here an example is given of shaving the head, for example, then these 3 things can be done. Okay, فَمَنْ لَمْ يَجِدْ فَصِيَامٍ ثَلَاثَةٍ, and whoever cannot afford that offering, let them fast for 3 days during Hajj and 7 after returning home, completing 10. Okay, and whoever is unable to do this kind of offering, they fast. So they fast 3 days. Okay, after they fast 3 days there, and whoever cannot afford the offering. Here, the offering here refers to, because we said that there are 3 things you can do when you missed a step of Hajj. Okay, which includes 3 days of fasting when you come back. Now this next part in the same ayah, okay, guys, it's technical, you have to pay attention, okay? I mean, in a sense that you have to like make connection, okay? Here, the offering here is talking about sacrificing the animal on the day, the day 10th, Yawmun Nahar. You know how we, on Eid al-Adha, we sacrifice an animal? So whoever is unable to sacrifice an animal, okay? And is there only 2 heads? Okay, sorry about that. Okay, so there are 3 types of Hajj. There are 3 types of Hajj. Qiran, where you combine Umrah and Hajj together. You don't come out of the state of Ihram, one Ihram. You put the Ihram, perform Umrah, perform Hajj, you come out of Ihram. Tamattu, where you put Ihram, then you perform Umrah, you come out of the state of Ihram, then you put Ihram again, then you perform Hajj, and then you come out of the state of Ihram. Okay? And Ifrad is just Hajj. It's usually people who live in that area, in the area of Makkah, and they're only performing Hajj. In 2 of these three kinds of Hajj, in 2 of them, in Tamattu and Qiran, you have to sacrifice the animal in the end. In Ifrad, you don't have to. The one that is Hajj only, you don't have to sacrifice an animal. Okay? The one where you are combining Umrah and Hajj, you have to sacrifice the animal. So here the part of the ayah, okay, which is saying the one who faman lam yajid, who cannot find what? Who's unable to sacrifice an animal on the day of Eid. On the day of Eid. We're not talking about the animal that is sacrificed as a fidya. We're not talking about that. We're talking about the day of Eid. In the Quran and Tamattu, what can they, because why can't they sacrifice? As maybe they run out of resources. Maybe the money got stolen. Maybe it was they could not find could be anything. Okay, sometimes it could be financial, sometimes it could be otherwise. Now what happens to their Hajj? They didn't get to sacrifice an animal. That person can fast 3 days during the Hajj days. 3 days during the Hajj days. What are the Hajj days left now? 11th of Dhul Hijjah, 12th of Dhul Hijjah, and 13th of Dhul Hijjah. Right? Day of Eid is 10th. You can't fast on the day of Eid. Okay, so they can fast on 11th, 12th, or the 13th. All these 3 days, okay? Not all, but all of these 3 days, they fast while doing Jamarat and all of that other things, okay? And when they come back to their home city, to their resident city, they fast 7 days. Okay, so that's a total of 10 days. They fast for 10 days, and this is a makeup for not being able to sacrifice an animal on the day of Eid. Okay, hope that is a bit clear. Okay, again, so that person can fast 3 days on the days of Dhul Hijjah, the days of Hajj, which is 11, 12, 13, and then they come back to their home city and they fast for 7 days. Total 10 days. For the one who's unable to sacrifice an animal in the Hajj of Qiran and Tamattu, not Ifrad. Ifrad is just Hajj, only Hajj. And usually it's the people who are living in that area doing it. You know, people who live in Haram, they're taken care of and things like that. Okay, hopefully that, okay. And when so hopefully that's clear. And whoever cannot afford the offering, let them fast 3 days during Hajj, and 7 after returning home, completing 10. Okay, ذلك لمن لم يكن أهله حاضر المسجد الحرام. These offering are for those who do not live near the Masjid al-Haram. Meaning these are people who are not living near Masjid al-Haram, basically not doing Hajj al-Ifrad. They're doing Qiran or Tamattu. Okay? وَاتَّقُوا اللَّهَ وَاعْلَمُوا أَنَّ اللَّهَ شَدِيدُ الْعِقَابِ. And be mindful of Allah and know that Allah is severe in His punishment. Okay, so basically, be careful when you're doing all of these steps of be mindful of Allah and know that Allah is severe in His punishment. And basically, that do not try to oversmart the rulings of Allah. Do not try to play around. Allah has made it very clear. And alhamdulillah, we have it has become even much more clear with the guides and the resources and the comfort. Even there is cooling at when your person is staying at Mina and it's so hot, the heat of the Arabian Peninsula, but they still have like coolers and all the kind of air conditioners, portable air conditioners set up. So there's no way a person, it's as comfortable now as it can get. Of course, it's millions of people. So it's still going to be hard because a lot of people, and the difficulty comes in when people are coming from all around the world. The people who are literate, people who are not up to our level of understanding or communication, especially they don't know the language. So a lot of that sabr is involved, of course, but in other sense, it's become much more easier to perform the Hajj. So the journey of Hajj is a journey of taqwa. Be mindful of Allah, be connected to Allah at all times. Okay, do not engage in things. Do not do Hajj for the purpose of a ritual. Just because someone can afford it, you should learn, you should be educated before going. There are a lot of Hajj seminars that happen before Zulhijjah when a person is going for Hajj. So educate yourself. These rulings are very important. Don't rely on someone else to do it. And even it's even said, when sometimes the group leader is the one who's leading all the du'as, this is not from the sunnah. Each person should be saying the dua themselves. When you will see, especially when they are when people are making tawaf, and there'll be a group leader, and they'll be saying Rabbana Atina, and people are repeating after him. Yes, that's okay, but person should be saying that, or even one person saying on one. No, this is not from the sunnah. Every person should be saying their dua by themselves. Okay, they can repeat, but making a collective dua is not from the sunnah. Okay, so this is why you have to educate yourself, get the material, be as prepared as possible for this. It's a very important journey. And Hajj is not something that you do very often too, right? Fasting, of course, Ramadan comes every year and we're able to do it. But Hajj is not something we're able to, when a person gathers, especially people save up for Hajj. And then, it can be, now for a regular person, it could be very difficult to do it again and again. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala give us the tawfiq to do, but it's, and you don't have to do Hajj multiple times. Once is okay, right? But the thing is, when you go for Hajj, you have to be well prepared. Prepare yourself for Hajj. Okay, now number 197. We'll go over that inshallah for today, and then we will, before we end the lesson. Al-Hajj shahrun ma'lumat. The Hajj is done on the known days. What are the known months? What does it mean by months? We only know about Zulhijjah, right? What is a known month? So what are the months of Hajj? Months of Hajj meaning, yes, days you perform the Hajj are 8th to 13th of Dhul-Hijjah, which is in the month of Dhul-Hijjah. But a person can get started. What about when people actually have to travel by camels and by roads to reach there when they should start? Imagine someone had to travel by road or by camel or whatever their state is, sometimes even by walking. So when can they start? So Shahrum Ma'lumat. These are the known days. Why is it called known days? Because even before in the time of Jahiliyyah, people used to perform Hajj and they knew these months. That's why it's called known months. So those months are Shawwal, after Ramadan, Shawwal, Dhul Qaida, and Dhul Hijjah. So a person can start their journey of Hajj from Shawwal. Okay, even if, like, for example, they have to travel long distances to get to their destination. Okay, so they can start when people can ask, when do I start? Should I do 6 months earlier? Can I do this? No, so Allah says these are the days you can start your Hajj from, which is from Shawwal, which is we're in the month of Shawwal, right? And then Dhul Qaida and Dhul Hijjah. They can start their journey. Okay, it's not that's permissible to start from. These are the months, the Shahrum Ma'lumat. فَمَنْ فَرَضَ فِيهِنَّ الْحَجَّ. Okay, and whoever commits to performing Hajj, what they should do? فَلَا رَفَثَ. So فَلَا رَفَثَ. First thing, when they enter in the state of Ihram, they should not do is be intimate with their spouses. Okay, they cannot be. Okay, then wala fusuqa. Wala fusuqa, meaning do not commit any kind of fisk. It's important to understand. Now we'll go back to all these three. There are three things mentioned specifically here. Okay, so the first is the intimate relation between husband and wife. What's the hikmah behind it? So the focus is only on Allah, not on human beings, not on needs. Okay, so focus is only on Allah. Okay. They're there, they're going together, but the focus should be Allah, not anything else. Okay, and fusuq is basically, it literally means khurujul ittiba, meaning coming out of obedience of Allah. Any action that leads a person to come out of obedience of Allah. Okay, fisk. It's like a sin, basically sinning. Okay, and then, so what are these fusuq that can happen during Hajj time? They are ghiba, backbiting. You know, this person, they did this. They're so rude in haram. They don't know they're the people of Makkah, and they don't know that, you know, the police did this is that. You know, what kind of, these people are like this. So, you know, people will go on a ranting, and it will happen. People will get upset. You will get upset. Because again, people are coming from all around the world and they're so different. They don't even know the language. So this is very common to happen. Or so fusuq can be like backbiting, okay? Quarreling. And argumentation is also mentioned separately, but like backbiting and any kind, lying, stealing. People steal. And Hajj too. Okay, people lie. A lot of tour guides lie to get there. They hike up their prices and whatnot. So all of these things, do not engage, do not lie, do not steal. This comes under fusuq. Okay, and number 3 is jidal. Jidal means to overtake someone through speech, basically argumentation. So common. Okay, and jidal happens of it can happen of different kinds. The first kind of jidal is when it's between people in terms of miscommunication because they don't understand the language. Okay, then it can happen, you're trying to tell something to someone, they're not understanding you, and then there's an argumentation, this is jidal. So what is required here? Sabr. You don't like something, but you have to be patient. Okay, another kind of jidal, argumentation, can happen in the steps of Hajj. No, this is not the right way, this is not this thing. People start arguing. And there are a lot of different hadiths on different, the steps of Hajj are pretty clear, but then there's certain things, for example, if someone is not combining their prayer at, let's say, Arafah, it's not wrong. Yes, it was a sunnah of the Prophet to combine Zuhr and Asr. What if someone doesn't combine them? That's okay. But people start arguing on it, and becoming righteous based on these things, on the steps. Okay, so jadal can happen because of miscommunication, frustration, heat, the weather. All of these affects a person's, right? You're feeling uncomfortable. It's so crowded. You're being pushed. You're being pushed from everywhere. And left and right, you're being pushed. Okay? So And you know, it can happen on anything. Washrooms, right? Just a whole lineup there. And wudu, or sometimes people start complaining, why is it not clean? Of course, there's people coming from all over, right? Then performing wudu. Then jidal can happen because of inconvenience, and it's about to happen. Jidal can happen over Zamzam. People are fighting over that. Hajar al-Aswad, Blackstone, where people are pushing, hitting, and whatnot, okay, to be able to kiss the Blackstone. Then, you know, people can also argue because this was my spot. You pushed me and took my spot. So many things can happen basically, right? When with human beings, it's a lot of challenge. So here Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is saying, Hajj is a journey of taqwa. When you're connected with Allah, you have to have sabr. You have to be patient. Comes with knowledge, comes with understanding of the purpose of Hajj. It's just not a ritual that we have to perform and you're going to enter Jannah. Okay? The Hajj has to be mabrur, it has to be accepted by Allah. Okay? So we want a Hajj that is accepted by Allah. Okay, and so here Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, what are things? Rafatha, which is intimate relation, fusuk, lying, backbiting, and jidal, argument, fil hajj. Okay, wama taf, and then here, what going back to rafatha, which is basically intimate relation between spouses. So what is the compensation? What happens if this happens, right? So this is because a person in the state of ihram, they can't do it. Okay, this is not allowed. So firstly, it's a sin. Generally, this is halal. But because you're in the state of ihram, certain things become haram. Okay, so then this is a sin. Okay, you don't get the reward for the ibadah. You still perform all the steps of hajj, but you have to come and do the hajj back again. Okay, there's no paying back. And also you have to pay fidya. So 5 things are there. When it comes to intimate relation and the ihram is broken, okay, it's a sin. Even though people are spouses, okay, you don't get the reward of the hajj itself. You still have to complete all of the steps of hajj. You have to do the qada. Qada basically is you have to re-perform. Come back again and do the hajj. Okay, there's a difference of opinion between scholars, but this is general. Okay, and also pay fidya. So 5 things. When a person is, they break their ihram. And again, this is separate from missing a step of hajj, which we mentioned 3 things can be done. This is when, especially in this case. But when it comes to husuk and jidal, of course, you have to seek forgiveness from Allah. You don't have to do all of these things. When it comes to breaking your ihram intentionally because of intimate relations, then these are the things that a person needs to do. Okay? And then, and this, again, all of that we learn from this ayah is that Hajj is the journey of sabr, journey of taqwa. It reminds us of the day of judgment when everyone is equal. Kings are coming and rich people are coming and they're all gathered in the same thing, Hajj and Umrah. No one can differentiate your financial status, your power status. That's how it's going to be. It's just a glimpse of the day of judgment. When everyone be pushed and you're pushed and gathered in spots and everyone looks the same. Everyone is equal. And everyone is focused, on their fulfilling. And same on the day of judgment, everyone is focused on themselves, right? What's going to happen to me? So similar, Hajj is a glimpse of the day of judgment. Okay, where everyone is in the sight of Allah are equal except their deeds, except their good and bad deeds. Okay. So here lastly, وَمَا تَفْعَلُوا مِنْ خَيْرٍ يَعْلَمْهُ اللَّهُ. Whatever you do of good, Allah knows. And a khair, as mentioned earlier, there are a lot of opportunities to do a lot of good. Not just the rituals of Hajj, but helping. Even controlling oneself from sinning is a good thing. Not always doing a good deed is a good thing. Stopping yourself from bad deeds is also a good thing. That's also a good deed, right? So when you stop to control yourself and in this state, in this, the pushing and the pulling and the heat and the people and the discomfort and the inconvenience, this is a good deed. Okay, Allah knows, يَعْلَمُهُ اللَّهُ. Okay. وَتَزَوَّدُوا فَإِنَّ خَيْرَ الزَّادِ التَّقْوَى. And Allah SWT says, take necessary provisions for the journey. Surely the best provision is taqwa. Be prepared for Hajj. Okay, take as much provisions as you can, but the best provision is taqwa. Be prepared. Pack, but don't overpack. Take your food, take your provisions with you. But the best provision, but sometimes people are so focused, okay, this outfit and that outfit and this outfit for that day and this thing, and they've put there, okay, yes, that's fine, but don't overdo it. Okay, and on the other hand, there's some people, they just tawakkul ala Allah, and they think, oh, people there will feed me. I'm not going to take it. No. So here Allah is saying, take your provisions. But there are two sides to it. Don't do too much and don't be underprepared. Take as much, be prepared for it. Don't think that you're going to go to Hajj and start begging people. There's some people who just do, they come with that mindset too. Now, on the other hand, there are people who are doing Hajj in a lavish way. Both are not encouraged, right? Both are not. So Allah says the best is taqwa. When you have fear of Allah, you'll take the exact amount that's needed. You'll take the exact amount of food, exact amount of, and that's only because if you have connection with Allah. Okay. واتقوا واتقوني يا أولي الألباب. And again, have fear of Allah, O people of intellect, O people of intelligence. Okay, so inshallah, bismillah, we will end our lesson for today here. The main thing that we'll learn in all of this, what is repeated again and again, is taqwa, right? You're performing Hajj. It is a pillar of Islam. But what's required when the person is performing Hajj or Umrah is taqwa of Allah. You have taqwa, you will not break your ihram. It's Hajj and Umrah are not just rituals then. You connected with Allah. Your purpose to please Allah. It's not to be, known in the community that you just perform, you're a Haji or a Hajja, your purpose is to please Allah. Okay, so Hajj is a journey of taqwa. It increases taqwa. The one who performs Hajj beautifully in a proper manner. Okay, Allah says, atimmu, complete it in a beautiful manner. Okay, they come out of Hajj like as if the day they were born, your date of birth, the day a baby was born. That's how clean a person comes out, clean state. And that's why a lot of people make dua that, once they finish their Hajj, they leave this world because they're all clean. They're all set, right? It's a restart basically to the life. Okay, so may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala give us all the ability to perform this beautiful ibadah. It's this beautiful fard ibadah, and to do it in the best of manners, with proper knowledge, okay, with proper understanding. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala takes us at a time when we have good amount of iman too. Sometimes we're not ready. So we're able to perform that in the best manner, inshallah, bismillah. Okay, so inshallah, we'll have into the class. If anything, any reflections anyone would like to share, inshallah, or
Yeah, any good deed that we do, we shouldn't do it for other people. We should do it only for Allah. We should always have it on our mind that we're not doing it for any other reason, but the only reason is to please Allah and do it. We're doing it for Allah.
yes.
Something that really stuck out to me about learning about steps of Hajj and Umrah is that Islam isn't a very complicated religion that has so many obligations on us, and that there's so many things to help us for what ifs, if certain situations happen, there's we're given answers of what to do. That's really nice.
Sister Smriti, you'd like to add anything?
I did go over, I sort of had a vague idea about the steps of Hajj, never performed it before, but alhamdulillah today solidified with pictures and things.
Yeah.
And again, there's so many backups in Islam, alhamdulillah, if this happens, you can always make it up in so many ways.
Yeah.
So that's
Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is He doesn't want to make it difficult for us, because he knows that things can happen, right? He's our creator, he's our Rabb. He knows that things can happen, things will not go as we want, right? That's again that's life, right? Things will not go as you plan, and that also again requires a lot of sabr. We have planned everything for Hajj and then something happens. What do you do then, right? So people get very frustrated because they've put in a lot of money into it, a lot of planning. It doesn't go. They're so excited about it. So again, this is very important, that this is why certain things are there for our ease. And there are also certain things Hajj should transform a person. especially comes to inner control, self-control and tolerance and sabr, inshallah. Right, so we will end here our class. Also we have brothers halaqah happening on May 12th. It's a brothers barbecue happening in Arendelle Park. So please, whoever would like to join, have their brothers join, inshallah, or men or brothers, like inshallah, bismillah, they can join. It's outdoors, beautiful weather, barbecue, and a lot of outdoor games. So I'm sure it's going to be a lot of fun, inshallah. Right, we'll end here. سبحانك اللهم وبحمدك نشهد أن لا إله إلا أنت نستغفرك ونتوب إليك. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته.